saved. So we've got a former Al-Qaeda guy in charge now.
I wanted to play this from Daily Show because I was interested in how Daily Show would cover something like what's going on in Syria right now. And I'll tell you right now, it's not really a gotcha clip. Like, this is not like the Peter Thiel clip where you watch it and you go, what a fucking insane human being. And this is also not like the CNN clip where you go, wow, this is some fake ass shit. But the problem with this is kind of it's like lying by omission or being naive by omission or whatever. So it's not really, I'm not going to play a clip where you go, I can't believe he said that. This is more like you go through the whole thing and you go, well, where's the meat? Because there's a lot of meat you could have gotten to and you didn't.
These from this weekend. A moment in time of pure, unalloyed joy. The delirious, almost uncomprehending excitement for a people celebrating a suddenly bright and hopeful new future. Yes, even the people of Syria are celebrating the New York Mets signing Juan Soto.
Okay, so he turns it into a Mets joke, which is fine. I'm a comedian too. I appreciate a punchline. But the whole, like, this celebration is completely, like it's 100% just complete unbridled joy across Syria. I don't think that was ever true. I think there are a lot of people celebrating across Syria right now, but I think there are some people that may not like Assad and be celebrating that he's gone, but may be smart enough to go, wait, who's replacing him? Wait, I'm of a minority group in Syria. What's my fate going to be? Is it execution in the streets, or how's that work? So the idea that everybody in Syria is the people riding on top of the statues that have been taken down is bullshit, or at least a stretch. But there obviously is people that are excited in Syria. Also, he's not mentioning that why are a significant portion of why all the people are, were miserable before Assad left and now think they have hope. And, who knows, maybe things will get better. But a big part of the reason is because the United States and our allies have nearly sanctioned Syria into oblivion, putting 94% of all the people in poverty so that they didn't know where their next meal was going to come from or whether they have gas for the stove to cook anything. And that is our doing. That is the United States. And that's ignoring the funding and arming of all the rebels and shit like that. This is just the sanctions that have gutted the Syrian economy. And I feel like that's an important factor. Why are people celebrating so much? They probably think that soon they're going to get out from the miserable poverty that they're in right now. But why are they in that miserable poverty? 80% the United States. I'm going to put a percentage on it that I'm just pulling out of my ass. 80% of the cause of that poverty and misery is caused by the United States. But let's get to something that would actually educate people beyond what they get on all the other bullshit shows. That's your job, Daily Show, right? Get beneath that surface layer. It's like a flan. You got to crack it and then move that out of the way. I know in a flan, that shell is very tasty, but this is different. This is different than a flan. I don't know who said it was a flan, but it's not a flan, okay?
All hail Syrian John Turturro.
I like that one. He does look like John Turturro.
Tell me more about this modern day George Washington.
Syrian rebel leader Abu Muhammad al-Jawlani, who's been on the U.S. terror watch list since 2013.
Significant portions of al-Jawlani's group maintain strong links to ISIS.
A former al-Qaeda member.
He's got a $10 million bounty on his head.
Ooh, $10 million. Hope he never ends up in a McDonald's in Altoona.
But you'd think now in this ongoing segment might be a good time to mention we funded these people. We armed these people at some point. Yeah, we also put some of the groups on terrorist watch list. But the guns that the ones on the terrorism watch list ended up with also came from us. Like, that should be said that the United States plays a major role in where they get their guns and where they get their funding and why they're still around and why they were able to topple Assad. This is the time to give people context. In moments like this, in history, as shit's going down, this is the time to give people the real context. But no, not being done. Also, the fact the U.S. is about to take him off the terrorist watch list, right? Because now he's one of our guys. He brought down Assad. Maybe we can fund him. Maybe we can arm him some more, and then maybe he'll do what we want. So we're going to take him off that watch list, aren't we? But instead, he makes, a joke about the Altoona McDonald's, and then it's kind of, let's move on for the most part.
Okay, so we've got a former Al-Qaeda guy in charge now. What does he have planned for the new Syria? I'm assuming it's some Taliban-esque, brutal, fundamentalist dystopia.
There must be a legal framework that protects and ensures the rights of all, not a system that serves only one sect.
I ask God Almighty that this be a conquest free of revenge, but a conquest entirely of mercy and love.
Conquest of mercy and love. I think that's how Taylor ended the Eras tour. Wait,
So Taylor Swift joke to cap that one off. But you'd think the thing to say right now would be, oh, that's bullshit. For one thing, I don't think anyone can go from being the chop your head off in the streets kind of guy to the we need diversity kind of guy. We need diversity in our government kind of guy. I don't think those type of changes happen real easily. But beyond that, this is the time to laugh at this as a concept. That, oh, he's a good guy now. Oh, he's going to treat people right now. Oh, he doesn't want to see revenge now. And we have already seen some of the indie outlets that I respect, like Electronic Intifada, have talked about it, that the executions, at least to some degree, the rounding up and execution of political enemies is already going on in Syria. They didn't take a breath. And instead, what Jon Stewart's doing here is kind of helping to launder this guy's image by saying, oh, no, he's not that anymore. He's this. Now, granted, he throws in jokes and you kind of don't know exactly where he stands on.
Once an Al-Qaeda leader, and now you are projecting this image of a moderate leader and a moderate group.
I believe that everyone in life goes through phases and experiences, and these experiences naturally increase a person's awareness. A person in their 20s will have a different personality than someone in their 30s or 40s.
I get it. Who amongst us hasn't gone through an emo phase or a goth phase or a 9/11 phase? You know how kids are. I don't like jihad anymore, Dad. I'm into horses.
So at least he makes fun of that. But again, you'll notice through everything I've shown, and even though I've jumped around, I've watched the whole thing, no mention of U.S. role in any of this. The entirety of the mention of a U.S. role is the $10 million bounty on this guy's head. That's it. Zero mention. He knows that we have funded the so-called rebels. I assume he's read enough to understand that we have been funding and arming jihadists. I assume he knows that the U.S. and our allies have, quote unquote, owned about a third of Syria for the past decade, where we're stealing oil. That is another reason that the Syrian people have been suffering so much, is because when you take their oil fields, most of it was just to make sure they couldn't get the oil, so they didn't have the oil. As Trump said, we have troops there still, so we can steal the oil. But it was also the wheat fields. It was the breadbasket of Syria. So basically, we starved and famined their people for over a decade, and that has resulted in this fall of Assad. And none of the U.S. role in any of this is mentioned on this Daily Show clip, which, again, it's maybe not as bad as CNN making shit up, but it's kind of lying by omission. Like, this is how you get deeper into it. And of course, he's not going to mention what I like to mention, which is the petrodollar and why the U.S. actually wanted to collapse Syria all along, and et cetera, et cetera. This is a lot of what the Daily Show does, is this kind of surface level. Chris Hedges defined it really well. And it's not just Daily Show, it's much of the late night shows, but they'll make fun of the foibles of the leaders, but they'll never really get to the deeper levels. They'll never actually explain to you what in high hell is going on in this world, and that is their job. And a lot of people would look at the Daily Show and say, why they even let the Daily Show on the air? I can't believe they're saying these things. They're making fun of the U.S. government. Because it's all got to be that surface level. If you stay at that surface level, you're okay. It's safe for everyone.